Prologue bosses. Red and Blue Noob, shortened to Red and Blue, are the first bosses players will encounter in the prologue. Their design and personalities were inspired by Blue Goomba and Red Goomba from Paper Mario. They are seen outside of the Roblox HQ beating up and bullying Shedletsky. They can be found on floor 9 of the pit and on the Bisville train to defeat their parents, Green and Purple. Both Red and Blue have R6 avatars, with Blue having a dark blue torso, bright blue pants, and baby blue arms, while Red is the same, just, well, red. Red has 7 HP, and his moveset is Red Spin Slash. It allows Red to approach the player, wind his sword back, and spin it at the player, dealing 1 damage. Blue has 6 HP, and her moveset is Blue Leg Stab. It allows her to approach the player and raise her sword up before stabbing it into the player's leg, dealing 1 damage. Both Red and Blue have a combined moveset and a universal moveset. Their combined movesets are Duo Slice and Duo Stab. Duo Slice is both of them approaching the player, with Red pushing Blue into the air while Blue is spinning, dealing 2 damage and ignoring any defense. Duo Stab is both of them approaching the player, with Blue acting as a slide, while Red slides to Blue to stab the player, dealing 4 damage. Revenge is a universal passive move. It activates whenever one of the two are down. The remaining noob will gain attack up level 1 for the rest of the battle. Red and Blue were taught criminality by their abusive parents, Green and Purple. This resulted in Nubidor, their uncle, taking custody of them. This is why they are seen bullying Shedletsky. Helping Red and Blue defeat their abusive parents gives the player the Call Red and Blue card to use them as allies to help them in future battles. Red and Blue's personalities are exact opposites. Red is prideful but forgets a lot, while Blue is frightful but has a good memory. Nubidor is the last boss players will encounter in the prologue. His design is inspired by the accessory Noob Attack Luchador liability. His name is a combination of Noob and Luchador, and he may be inspired by King Goomba. He first appears at the end of the prologue, then on floor 9 of the pit, and lastly on the Bisville train, where he is knocked out by Green and Purple. He is Red and Blue's uncle and does his best to protect them from their parents. He fights the player because Red and Blue snitched, but after helping them on the Bisville train, their opinion of the player changes to be more positive. Nubidor has an R6 body, yellow skin, no shirt, red pants, and a red mask that exposes his eyes and mouth. He has 15 HP and his moveset is Elbow Drop and Super Ball Toss. Elbow Drop is Nubidor walking up to the player and performing an elbow drop on them, dealing 3 damage and making the player dizzy for 2 turns. Nubidor can perform a Super Ball Toss by throwing a dark purple Super Ball in a curved arc, dealing 3 damage and defense down level 1 for 2 turns. Nubidor's supposed grave is seen in the pre-prologue, with Red and Blue looking at a grave that is likely his. The events of Blocktails take place in the past before the pre-prologue, so there's a slight chance we might be able to see what happened in the last chapters of the game. Chapter 1 Bosses. Supreme Ant is a giant ant boss encountered in the ice caves, and the first boss players will encounter. She's a reference to the Titanic ant from Earthbound. She is an abnormally large humanoid blue ant with multiple limbs, so she's basically just a big, blue, and angry ant. She's 15 HP and her moveset is Munch and Call for Help. Munch is just Supreme Ant walking towards you and biting you with her mandibles, dealing 2 damage. Call for Help is when she attempts to summon an ant army, but they're all weak, so it doesn't really matter. Normally I would feel bad for making the Supreme Ant literally explode, but those ants were annoying anyway. Banished Knight is a mini-boss that can be encountered in the Snowy Thicket and in Telemon's Manor. He was banished by the Cruel King for failing him too many times, and he was determined to regain his trust. Unfortunately, we killed the Cruel King, so now his goal is to train a new generation of knights. Banished Knight has pale blue skin, dark and chainmail legs, a black armored helmet, and a sword. He is 8 HP and his only moveset is Stab, which is him moving forward and immediately swinging his sword at you. Spiky Killbot is another boss that can be encountered in the Snowy Thicket. It is created using the Telemon's crafting jewel accessory and is a reference to the killbots created by Shedletsky. It is a gold colored spiky filled sphere. It has both spiky and flying attributes, so using swords or a ball doesn't work. It is 2 HP and its moveset consists of Stab and Rocket. Stab is Spiky Killbot, well, stabbing you, dealing 4 damage. Rocket is Spiky Killbot firing a rocket at you, dealing 4 splash damage to the entire party. Sentient Statue is a, well, sentient statue that can be found in the hallway of Blackrock Castle and, of course, re-encountered in the pit. It is slightly inspired by the Mani Mani statue from Earthbound. Normally I wouldn't go in depth about what's in the pit, but this is an exception because 419 spawns in 4 of them. Anyway, Sentient Statue is a gray pedestal holding a knight, wielding a sword pointing downward, with a darker gray visor and a fin on the top of the head. Sentient Statue has 14 health, and its moveset consists of Unexpected Zooming and Statue Smash. Statue Smash is the easier of the two. Sentient Statue moves up to you and slams down on you twice, dealing 2 damage each slam. Unexpected zoom is exactly what it sounds like. Sentient Statue moves back a little and then almost instantly zooms forward, dealing 4 damage to one player, or if there's a party, then it will deal 8 damage to the entire party. This isn't a problem until you're fighting 4 of them. The Statue Smash move made this the first enemy in Chapter 1 to have a multi-hit attack. Cruel King is the final boss of Chapter 1. He can be found in the throne room. He's a schizophrenic king who froze over his kingdom because he was told by the quote-unquote voices that the kingdom would be destroyed. The voices he's hearing is a result of him wielding the ice dagger because for some reason those swords corrupt everyone around them except for you. You're literally built different. This results in you fighting and killing him, even though he had good intentions, but hey, at least the kingdom isn't freezing anymore. Too bad the penguins have to move out now. Cruel King has a white head, black arms, a dark red torso, gray legs, the royal crown, a scepter, the ice dagger, a pair of cyan eyes, and his tongue sticking out of his mouth. He has 30 HP and 4 moves. Scepter Strike allows him to point his scepter at you to cause an icy mist that will implode, dealing 5 damage to the whole party and giving you the frozen debuff for 1 turn. His second move, Freezing Stab, consists of him walking up to you and quickly stabbing you with the Ice Dagger, dealing 5 damage and giving the player the Frozen level 1 debuff for 1 turn. He can use Call for Help to whistle and slam his scepter on the ground twice, summoning either a Loyal Knight or a Crossbow Crony. His last move, Refreshing Heal, is pretty simple. He just heals himself and all enemies for 1 health and gives them a defense up level 1 for 2 turns. The only way to get Cruel King on your side and to his senses is to beat him up 6 times in the Cold Nirvana, which makes him realize the voices are lying and you aren't actually evil, mostly. This gives you the Call Cruel King card that you can use to summon him as an ally, similar to Red and Blue. When you summon him, he'll appear as a ghost because, well, he's dead. Chapter 2 bosses. Komodo Dragon is an angry mother who wants to fight you, because using dynamite to blow up the debris that Griefer set up startled her. She is the best OST in the whole chapter, in my opinion. She can be seen in the rugged rainforest and reappears on floor 29 of the pit, where the game decides to make you fight 4 of them. Great. Anyway, Komodo Dragon is an olive-colored Komodo Dragon with 2 simple black eyes, a snout, 4 limbs, and a tail that's just as long as her body. She has 20 health and her moveset consists of Venom Bite, Growl, and Tail Smack. She can crawl up to you and bite you, dealing 4 damage and applying a poison debuff for 4 turns. She can use up a turn to roar, giving herself the fast attribute for 3 turns. And for her final move, she crawls up to you, winds up her tail, and then whips you with her tail, dealing 5 damage and attack down level 1 for 3 turns. After you brutally beat up an angry Komodo Dragon, she comes to her senses and realizes you actually helped her by blowing up that debris. So she decides to let you in her nest, and you obtain rocket boots. Bigfoot is seen all over your For You page, and you cannot escape. Oh, wait, sorry, wrong Bigfoot. Okay, wait, I don't really ask this too much, but we are really close to 100k, so be sure to subscribe. Anyway, he's a regular giant ape that was minding his own business until you decided to run him over, which understandably made him hate you. He is first encountered while driving the Jeep through the mud roads, then he comes to steal the iron sword you got, and emotes after doing it. The final time he's encountered, not counting floor 20 of the pit, is when you shake him out of a large tree and fight him. He has brown fur, tan skin, a lot of hair on his head, 2 beady eyes, a round nose, and a toothy smile. Bigfoot has 30 health and 5 moves. He can perform Bigfoot Stomp by stomping you twice, dealing 3 damage and applying the small attribute for 2 turns per stomp. Spin Slam is a ranged attack where he jumps high up into the sky while spinning horizontally and then slamming down on the whole party, dealing 6 damage and applying the small attribute for 2 turns. He can do a vine swing by jumping on a vine and swinging 4 times really fast. Each swing does 1 damage and poison for 2 turns. He can use up a turn to apply charge to himself, which is Bigfoot Anger. His last move is Stomp Fury, and it only occurs with charge or tack up. He walks up to you and stomps you 3 times while punching you, dealing 1 damage per hit and applying the small attribute for 3 turns. These hits pierce through defense. You definitely deserved everything Bigfoot did to you, especially the emote. Griefer, whose real name is Brad Thaniel, is the main antagonist of chapter 2 and a schizophrenic teenager who is actually 21. He constantly causes trouble throughout the chapter because he wants to get his hands on the Venom Shank. His father is Mayor Thaniel, who apparently can pick up the Venom Shank. Why, I don't know. Griefer is in his rebellious and edgy phase, so he kidnaps his father and is going to force him to pick up the sword. Valid. He was the one who ordered Red and Blue to attack Shadletsky. He has a crippling soda addiction because he has drunk over 1,300 cans of Bloxy Cola and Witch's Brew. The only redeeming quality he has is that he's friends with Kyoko somehow. I don't know if it's the schizophrenic voices in his head, but half of what he says replaces regular letters with numbers, and he's always talking with caps lock on. Despite the awful first impression Griefer gives off when he kidnaps his father, he wasn't always a bad person, though I'm guessing he wasn't hearing voices when he was a good person. He has white skin, gray gloves, a neon green leather jacket with red finishes, a belt, a gray chain across his right leg, black and red pants with red finishes, pockets, shoes, the red fang face, and the red grind hat. The first time you fight him, he has 24 health and 4 moves. He can jump into the air and start spinning to perform a slam, slamming his crowbar into you, dealing 4 damage and applying the slow attribute for 3 turns. Crowbar smack allows him to walk up to you and quickly swing his crowbar down on you, then he pauses for a moment and swings his crowbar sideways, dealing 3 damage each hit and applying slow for 3 turns. He can use up a turn to griefer charge up, which is pretty self-explanatory. His last move is super slam, which, just like Bigfoot, only occurs with charge or attack up. Griefer slams his crowbar into you, dealing 6 damage and making you dizzy for 3 turns. The second time you fight Griefer, he has obtained the Venom Shank by literally putting his father's already tied up hands around the sword and pulling him up. Pretty smart. Now he has 40 health and 3 moves. Strong crowbar smack is the same as crowbar smack from the first fight, but this time it does 4 damage instead of 3. He can use the Venom Shank to perform a Venom Slice, which is him walking up to you, pulling out the Venom Shank, doing a quick spin, and slicing you, dealing 8 damage and causing you to be poisoned for 3 turns. Venom Spin can only occur with charge or attack up. He walks up to you, pulls out the Venom Shank, swings his sword down, then winds it up for a short moment and does his best Beyblade impression, hitting you 4 times and dealing 2 damage per hit, and inflicting the poison debuff for 3 turns. His moves from the first fight are still here. He didn't forget them, so watch out for those too. After beating Griefer for the second time now, he pulls out the I don't care anymore, and now you know you're cooked. He stabs himself in the leg and turns into Bubonic Plant. Bubonic Plant is the final boss of chapter 2. He can be encountered in the same place you fought Griefer, but like Cruel King, he can also be fought in the Toxic Nirvana, which is slightly different dialogue each time you fight him. Bubonic Plant is a dark green leafy plant with 8 bug-like tendrils, 2 blackened arms at its sides, all connected to a green rib cage, a neck attached to the rib cage, and an elongated jaw covered in leaves. Yeah, that sword messed him up bad. He has 40 health, but he's significantly harder than Griefer. Big Bite, his first move, moves him toward you and straining his neck before snapping at you, dealing 8 damage and applying poison for 3 turns. Tendril Flurry is probably the hardest move to dodge besides Plant Rush. It makes Bubonic Plant move toward you, burrow itself into the ground, and then shoot 2 vines from the back in front of you at rapid speeds, each one dealing 4 damage and inflicting poison. If you hadn't caught on yet, all these attacks inflict poison. Venom Charge is just a simple charge move that makes him fast for 3 turns. Plant Rush is a nightmare that only occurs with charge or attack up, causing Bubonic Plant to walk up to you and fire his lower end tendrils at you 3 times before thrusting its arms at you 6 times, each hit dealing 1 damage. Acid Rain is the last move, and Bubonic Plant shoots 5 poisonous balls in the air that randomly target and rain down on the party, with each ball dealing 2 damage. After defeating whatever that was, sad music plays as his father breaks down, since, you know, his son is a giant green plant, for the next 2 chapters anyway. Once you get to chapter 4, you can seal that useless genie's will and do 100 things that I don't remember to eventually cure Griefer, which makes him your ally, and you get the Call Griefer card. Supreme Mosquito is a super boss that I'm only just now hearing about. Was this always in the game? You can encounter Supreme Mosquito in the Turritopulous Forest, by the exit or entrance of the Fire Ant Hill. Not much to say about the appearance. She's a giant mosquito I didn't even know existed. It has an insane 60 health and 3 moves. Call for help is self-explanatory. She only spawns in a single mosquito swarm. Double Pierce lets the Supreme Mosquito fly into loop-de-loops in front of you, stabbing you when she gets to the bottom. Each stab deals 8 damage and pierces defense. Poison Pierce is her last move, and it lets her trust her proboscis at you, also known as her long pointy nose, dealing 8 damage and inflicting poison for 3 turns. Since she's a mosquito and everything, this move heals her for the damage she dealt. She was originally supposed to be the final boss of chapter 2. Yeah, I'm glad that was scrapped. This would have been a crappy final boss. Supreme Mosquito is heavily related to Supreme Ant somehow. That's gonna conclude part 1, so be sure to subscribe for part 2 for the chapter 3 and 4 bosses, and be sure to watch this video on screen since you will definitely love it. See you soon!